To Kill a Mockingbird tells the story of Scout Finch, narrated as an adult voiced by Kim Stanley, and then played as a child by Mary Badham. Set in the 1930s, Scout is the little sister of Jem, played by Philip Alford, and the daughter of Gregory Peck, who strangely gets called by his first name by his own children. It's just weird and gets annoying very quickly.
Atticus. Atticus. Hey, Atticus. Atticus. Atticus.
Just say, Dad! What are you doing?
Wait a minute.
Anyway, Gregory Peck plays Atticus, a single father raising his kids in this small little town as they enjoy their charming childhood. But as a lawyer, he has to defend a black guy in court accused of raping a white woman, leading to a very intense story revolved around the actions of severe racism. The movie was based on the novel of the same name by Harper Lee, published in 1960, which won a Pulitzer Prize. Upon producing the film, it's set in a fictional town of Maycomb, Alabama, but they wanted to use the author's real hometown of Monroeville as the set. Unfortunately, between the 1920s and the 1960s when this film was being made, it looked incredibly different, so they had to build a backlot in Hollywood instead. They were going to use a real courthouse in Monroeville for a really iconic scene in the movie, but the audio was too poor and they had to recreate it. The set still stands to this day and is now a museum dedicated to the story. However, it was so accurate that many locals from Alabama genuinely believed it was the real location.
Yes, sir.
Of course, To Kill a Mockingbird was an insane hit and is often considered one of the greatest in movie history. Walt Disney allegedly had the film screened privately at his home and afterwards praised it and wished that he could someday make a film just like it. Gregory Peck's performance was one of the most iconic in history and still remains to this day. Peck didn't even hesitate when he was approached with the role. He went and read the book in one sitting before instantly agreeing, finding a lot of relatability to the character. Brock Peters, who played the accused rapist Tom Robinson, spoke warmly of Peck and even spoke at his eulogy after he passed away. He called this one of his proudest achievements in his life, and he remained friends with not only Peck but young Mary Badham as well. The author Harper Lee was extremely happy with the casting of Gregory Peck and even broke down crying on set watching the film being made, as he looked just like her father, who the character was moulded after. Strangely, young Philip Alford didn't even want to do the film and only ended up agreeing to play Jem to get out of school. But neither child actor actually pursued it for their future career. Mary Badham retired a few years later, ended up marrying a school teacher and having 2 kids, though she would act again but not until 2005, while Alford went on to become a successful businessman. The two were very much like real siblings behind the scenes too, not getting along at all. Mary would often imitate Philip off screen to distract him, though others claim that she simply memorized the entire script and just had a habit of mouthing along everybody's words with them without realizing. However, there is a scene where Mary had to climb into a tire and Alfred would push her, as the siblings in the movie harmlessly played together. But in one take, Alfred was annoyed that Badham kept messing up scenes, so he deliberately aimed the tire at an equipment truck in order to try to hurt her. Dude!
What in the Sam Hill are you doing?
Mary Badham became the youngest girl to ever receive a nomination for an Academy Award at the age of just 9, but lost to 14-year-old Patty Duke. It's definitely a strong piece that really grabs your attention and sticks in your mind for a long while after you've watched it. Although, this clearly says 1960. But the film's set in the 1930s. Someone done messed up.
I'm Charles Baker Harris. I can read. I'm right my own ass.
I have to say, I absolutely love the accents of the kids. They stretch out every word.
How old are you? 4 and a half. Going on 7. Well, no wonder then. Scout's been reading since she was born, and she don't start school the next month.
No wonder you're doing that. Yeah, Rabbit. It's a 1928 Delta. But the child actors are so damn charming, they really are a delight to watch. But this little brat looks like Cal Freezy. Look at them teeth, man.
Listen, man, your teeth look like they're angry at me. For Christ's sakes, you're Canadian. Aren't braces for free? Oh, no.
And hey, this movie invented the cliche of the nearby neighbor who's so dastardly evil. Yeah, the kids tell a scary story of a reclusive, unseen man called Boo who allegedly chains up his son, and this is so creepy yet weirdly charming with whimsical music. It really captures the childhood well and gave Home Alone something to rip off, and I'm sure the neighbor won't turn out nice later on.
Dale, what are you doing here?
My Lord, Aunt Stephanie, you almost gave me a heart attack.
And then I almost had a convincing emotion. Okay, he's actually pretty good. Up until that point.
I was standing in my yard one day when his mama come out yelling, "He's killing us all." Turned out that Boo was sitting in the living room cutting up the paper for his scrapbook. And when his daddy come by, he reached over with his scissors, stabbed him in his leg, pulled him out, and went right on cutting the paper.
Okay, I can understand the kids getting caught up in this story, making up these ridiculous claims and everything and exaggerating it, but now the adults are joining in.
How was that when Mama died? 2. How old were you? 6. Old as I am now?
Girl, you are not 6. I mean, the actress was 9, but just look at her. She is clearly not 6. What are you smoking? Regardless, it is really charming to see the characters play around as the actors try to murder each other. But in the story, what the hell did they expect to happen? They aim her directly towards the psycho's house and then push, and then they're like, oh no, she's at the psycho's house. And then he knocks on the door and runs away anyway. Damn it, I miss being a kid. I'm old.
You tell him about this back in Meridian County, Mr. Dill Harris.
This guy is dang ugly. Talk about the tooth fairy, you put her in bankruptcy.
The colored man looks to me like he's crying.
And I see him.
I wonder what he's done to cry about. What's going on? There's a whole lot of men sitting together on one side, and one man keeps pointing at the colored man and yelling. They're taking the colored man away.
You know, this actually perfectly captures the fact that kids aren't born racist. Like, they don't just come out the womb racist. It's based on how they're brought up and what they're taught. The fact that these kids are looking at this racism in such an innocent and ignorant way is actually kind of endearing.
What are you gonna do? Gonna look in a window at the Radley house and see if we can get a look at Boo Radley.
And then I'm gonna explain to you in such an angry way for no reason! There's a scene where they try to sneak into the weird neighbour's place, but the gate is far too squeaky, so they have to spit on it to work as a lubricant. That's actually really clever. No idea if that would actually work, but it's damn clever! But what's with this weird cartoon sound effect, though? It's like a cartoon is sneaking around.
Which way?
But when Jem peeks up through the window, there is so much tension and suspense. It's like a damn horror movie at times. And then a shadow appears behind him. But his sister's reaction really isn't right. She doesn't even look scared. I don't even know what this is. Oh no, my brother's gonna get stabbed. But then I guess the shadow gets scared and runs away. Weird.
I'm going back after my pants. Please, Jim, come on in the house. I can't go in without my pants.
I love that line, just for how dramatic it is. The look on his face is hilarious.
I can't go in without my pants.
People are gonna see my bum bum. And then he gives Scout 10 seconds before he returns. And as she counts, this is the most intense 10 seconds ever.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Jesus Christ!
How old were you when you got your first gun, Atticus?
13 or 14.
Ha, only in America.
That boy is your company. And if he wants to eat up that tablecloth, you let him, you hear?
So if he wanted to pee on the TV and hump a plant, you'd let him? Because he's your company?
For God's sake, Mr. Finch, he's got to be killed right away before he starts running. Look where he is. I can't shoot that well, you know it.
I haven't shot a gun in years.
Oh, you're American, you'll be fine. I'm sure it's just like riding a bike. See? Why'd you shoot a dog, you son of a... I love how he just casually walks away straight after. And then this creepy old dude starts knocking around outside the car with the kids inside. And it's creepy as hell. It's like the 60s version of Jurassic Park. But why doesn't he do anything to the black kid? I mean, the basic premise is that Atticus agreeing to defend a black guy receives a lot of backlash from the racist townsfolk. So this is why his family is now being targeted. But that doesn't really make much sense when a black kid is nearby and nothing happens to him. He just runs to safety without incident.
You nigger lover.
I mean, you seen Beyonce? I would.
Atticus had promised me he would wear me out if he ever heard of me fighting anymore.
That's your dad! Ew!
Atticus, do you defend niggers?
Is there any right answer to that question?
Don't say nigger, Scout.
Maybe this review wasn't the best idea.
I'm simply defending a Negro.
Oh, just say black! That sounds awful too! Oh my god, the troll from Ernest Scared Stupid is behind this! I knew it! Run for your lives!
These are us.
Jesus Christ! And then the music turns cartoony again. It's like the Addams Family!
Don't you remember me, Mr. Cunningham? I'm Jean Louise Finch.
So, what do they call you, Scout? It's never explained. What do you call your brother, Jem? Why do you both call your father by his first name? Can you all just address each other properly? So we find out that his left arm was injured as a child in a machine, rendering it completely paralysed. Which is impossible. I mean, look at how muscular it is. How do you work out both arms if you can't move one of them? Sorry, sidetracked.
Stop it!
Tom claims that he offered to help the woman with her chores one day and offered no charge, which led to her taking advantage of his work and giving him more and more to do each day. Eventually, she came on to him and he rejected her, leading to the accusation, as it was considered disgusting for a white woman to be romantically involved with a black man. But in a truly tragic moment, there is absolutely no evidence to support the fact that he raped the woman, but the accuser's story all contradict themselves and make no sense. And he couldn't have physically done it without his left arm. But despite this, he is still found guilty, showing the sheer amounts of racism back then. Ah, the good old 30s, where you were considered guilty just for being black. For real though, this scene is actually heartbreaking.
Tom didn't stop. He shot at him to wound him and missed his aim.
A white American cop shooting an innocent black guy? So unrealistic. And it really is heartbreaking to see the locals and families receive the news of his death. But not everyone is happy with Atticus.
I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool.
And all the black guys kick his ass, right? Right? What the hell happened? They just fade away. Why would they let him get away with that? I do think this last part is unnecessary. I mean, the case is over. The black guy was sentenced but then killed. These final few scenes really do nothing but pad the film. Basically, an unknown man attacks the kids, but it's hard to take it seriously when Scout is dressed as a giant ham struggling to get back up. But luckily, someone saves them.
Scout! Scout! What happened? What happened?
I swear I don't know. I just don't know.
And I can't stop smiling for some reason. And this is when it's revealed that the man who saved the kids was actually the creepy unseen neighbor man, Boo. And yes, you bet your booty that is Robert Duvall from The Godfather in his first ever movie role. I just don't get why this was needed. It's like it's not even from the same movie. It's just a weird tie-in to the kid's story earlier that affects the film zero. He even tries to have a touching moment with the still unconscious Jem, but we don't know this guy. This is just weird and not needed. The ending is a bit silly, but I guess they couldn't really have the other ending and then finish it on a downer. But the movie is a lot better than I expected it to be. Normally when I'm asked to look at these classics that I've never seen, I'm concerned that the hype would have killed it for me. It's a movie I've always heard about but never really took the time to see for myself. In addition to that, its age may not have come across very well, but thankfully, it does. It still maintains the charm, the racism stuff is still incredibly powerful, the acting is mostly great, and I love the music apart from the cartoony parts. It's over 2 hours long, but it doesn't really drag except the ending a tiny bit, but you're never begging for the credits. It's funny, sweet, charming, powerful, scary, it has it all. It's definitely worth all of its accolades, and I would highly recommend it.